Well, hi guys. Let's see here. Always a bump. Always a bump. So we're just getting ready for a press conference on the school Pure Natalie Rupnow. I know. I don't know if they are going to start talking about this manifesto we're hearing about. I don't know. I'm anxious to hear it. Let me see here. I have not heard of a girl doing, oh, it is so sad. I have not heard of a girl doing this for a very, very long time. So they're supposed to start, I do believe, at about 20 after. Let's see. So we've got about 10 minutes. Move things around a little bit. Yeah, they should be beginning shortly. Madison, Wisconsin. Suspect identified as a 15-year-old girl. She passed away after self-inflicted wound. Let's see here, guys. It's just heartbreaking.
Behind every BP fill-up, thousands of people.
I want to get myself in trouble before I've even started my venture. Adventure is more like it. Okay.
On a Fox News alert tonight, an important update from the horrific school shooting at Abundant Life Christian School in Wisconsin. The shooter has been identified as a 15-year-old girl who reportedly took her own life after murdering a teacher and another student. 6 others were wounded, 2 are in critical condition, and according to police, a brave second grader was the one that reported the...
How heartbreaking is that? It was a second grader, grade 2, that had to make this call. I mean, if that's not enough to rip you apart, oh, Lordy. Grade 2.
Ongoing shooting by calling 911. Our prayers are with all the victims tonight. We'll keep you updated on this developing story.
Oh, Lordy. Natalie Rupnow was identified as the person who did this, opened fired inside of a study hall inside the Abundant Life Christian School. Now, I'm pretty sure I've seen a picture of that place. It's just like, oh my God, man. Police were speaking with Rupnow's father and other family members who were cooperating and searching Rupnow's home. He declined to offer additional information about what she did and who she was. Basically, out of respect. There's that. Look at that, eh? A Christian school. Happy Thanksgiving. So it says a 15-year-old, which is her, is no longer with us, a teacher and a student, and 6 others were injured inside of the Abundant Life Christian School in Madison, Wisconsin on Monday. They responded just before 11 a.m. to a second grader's 911 call reporting what was going on. I don't know why I feel like if we did know why, we could stop these things from happening. I think I heard that this school, the entirety of it was something like 300 kids. So they all know each other. They have not identified the teacher or the student at this point. I was wondering, how old is this student? because I think it sounded like at study hall there was different grades. So the 6 that were wounded in this action, 2 were students and they're in critical condition. A teacher and 3 students were also hospitalized with less serious injuries. 2 of them were later released. So what do you guys think? Is this going to mean that, are they going to go after the parents again? Is this going to be another situation like the Crumleys? A 15-year-old girl. Families getting together with their kids. That's very interesting. Good conversation for later, I'm thinking. So we've got under 5 minutes. I wouldn't mind having that discussion. So we're just waiting. We are less than 5 minutes. Oh, Lordy. So we're still waiting. FBI's Milwaukee Bureau was at that scene to help with the investigating. So let's see here. I've got myself on a little bit of a mission here and I keep getting sidetracked. This is unreal to me. Come on, there we are. That is what I heard. That is absolutely what I heard. How brutal is that? I'm trying to share this. It's a little bit distracted. Okay, I need to go back there. Yes. Oh, lordy. Okay, let's take a look here. Let me introduce myself. My name is Samantha Rupnow. I was born on November 7th of 2009, exactly 2 years after Picos attack. Incredible, am I right? Nobody knows I'm doing this. I got the weapons, my lies and manipulation, and my father's stupidity. I planned on doing it myself a while ago, but thought maybe it's better for evolution rather just one stupid, boring, unaliving, which hopefully I'll reach at that point. Oh my God. I planned this myself and nobody else. I act alone. There would have been no way. Here we go, guys.
He will not be taking questions.
Can I ask why?
No question.
No, he doesn't want to.
But everyone else is taking questions, including
Yes,
Sarah?
correct.
Okay.
So when you say down the list, you mean down?
Yeah, I got a list right here and go down like we did the other year yesterday. So thank you.
I will go through that again. We got cut off, so I'll read the whole thing after that. Oh, hearing that the boyfriend had the manifesto. Lord. I'm just on the shocked side of things that a girl did this. I don't know why. Oh, you rocked, Andy. Thank you. Okay. Just, oh, Lordy. Hey, Ruthie. Hello, hello. Okay, here we go, guys. Here we go.
Careful there.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here today. We'll be providing an additional update as we have moved now into the investigation phase of this tragic incident. I'll be making some prepared remarks and we will not be taking questions. My name is Chief Sean Barnes, SHONBARNES, and I'm the Chief of Police for the Madison Police Department. The past 24 hours have been a flurry of emotion, sadness, anger, disappointment, grief for the Madison community. We were brought together by a tragedy. And today, 3 families woke up this morning to a world without a loved one. And that can never be outdone. In the midst of this tragedy, our community has come together in an incredible demonstration of support from Madison and indeed the state of Wisconsin and our nation. I cannot express enough gratitude to the many emergency response agencies who provided direct support to the Madison Police Department. We could not be standing here today without the men and women of law enforcement, specifically the Madison Fire Department, surrounding EMS agencies, Dane County Sheriff's Office, Monona PD, Oregon PD, the University of Wisconsin Police Department, the ATF, the FBI, Fitchburg Police Department, and Cottage Grove. A special thank you from me to all of these agencies. Thank you so much. These agencies and many others responded to the scene and or took calls for service within the city of Madison to allow us to focus on this tragic incident. Student reunification with their loved ones could not have happened as swiftly as it did without the assistance of SSM Health Dean Medical Clinic, as well as the Quick Trip. Additionally, many people worked well into the night and supported local restaurants and community who came together and provided food and other logistical support for our team. Yesterday, we came together as one team, as one Madison, as one country, and we should feel incredibly proud about our response. I'll be providing some updates at this time, but before I do that, I'd like to provide an important clarification. Yesterday, after looking at the computer-aided dispatch system, it seems as if a call came from a second grader. It actually read, the call came from a second grade teacher. That was a mistake. That's my responsibility, and I apologize, and I clarify that today. It did not come from a second grader. It read second grade teacher. I will also be providing several investigative updates from the 8 p.m. briefing from last night. The Madison Police Department is committed to transparency and will continue to release information that can be used to improve public safety. This must be balanced against our commitment to the victims of this horrific crime and the need to do a thorough and complete investigation. As a result, I recognize many of you may have questions that I cannot answer at this time. I ask for you to keep the victims in your mind and respect their right to a thorough investigation. I also will not be taking questions at the conclusion of this press conference, but your pre-submitted questions serve as the basis for updates that we're providing for you this afternoon. If your question is not answered, it is due to an ongoing investigation. Okay. We know a document has been widely shared on social media. At this time, we cannot verify its authenticity. We have detectives working today to determine where this document originated and who actually shared it online. At this time, we cannot verify the document. We ask that you not share the document or spread any information that may be false. Our department will provide an update on this document when we can. There are always signs of a school shooting before it occurred. Some of you have reached out about Rupnow's social media activity prior to yesterday's shooting. We're looking into her online activity. We're asking anyone who knew her or who may have insights into her feelings leading up to yesterday to please contact the Madison Area Crime Stoppers. Again, anyone who may have known her or knew what she was feeling or going through at that time, please direct those inquiries to Madison Area Crime Stoppers. That number is 608-266-6014 or at P3 Tips. P3 Tips. We will not be releasing specifics about these social media accounts at this time. Identifying a motive is our top priority, but at this time, it appears that the motive was a combination of factors. Again, we cannot share that information at this time because we do not want to jeopardize the investigation and those who are currently cooperating with us.
That's fair.
All patient status remain unchanged. The 911 calls are the record of the 911 communications center, and their standing operating procedure is not to release documents in open and active investigations. Again, we are working to authenticate the documents that you see online that some are referring to as a manifesto. And as soon as we do that, we will let you know. Now, the process for doing that is looking at original documents that may have been taken from the suspect's home, looking at information that may be on laptops or on computer to determine if this document originated from our suspect. Any disciplinary records would be under the purview of the school. Some of you have asked whether or not she was troubled or whether or not she was troubled at school. We do not have those records. We are not the proprietor of those. On the question of bullying, we're talking to students to understand whether bullying was one of those multiple factors that I mentioned earlier. Some have asked if people were specifically targeted. Everyone was targeted in this incident, and everyone was put in equal danger. Today, numerous MMSD schools were targeted by false threats, often known as swatting. We're working closely with the Madison Metropolitan School District to determine where these originated and to investigate this call. We do not believe that there are any current threats to any Madison area schools, and will continue to investigate these calls and any threats of violence as they come in. Let me be clear on this point. Making false threats is a crime, and we are working with the district attorneys to prosecute these crimes as information is gathered. And if we have to do that, we certainly will. I encourage all parents, all family members to talk to your loved ones about this. We will determine where they originated. We'll use federal partners if we have to and levy those charges as well. As we continue to investigate what happened yesterday, we're keeping the victims and their families in the front of our minds. We want to thank the countless people and organizations who've reached out to support them, as well as the Dane County Victim Witness Unit and the Dane County Emergency Management, who provided direct support to the families. To the Abundant Life Christian Academy, this is a hurting and haunting situation. And the many survivors will need our continued support, and we pledge to give them that in the days, months, and even years ahead. As a community, we must not allow violence or any act of violence to define us. We refuse to allow hate or destruction to win in this city.
That's fair.
But rather, we will honor our survivors, our victims through love, support, and the Madison way. Please continue to take care of yourself and take care of each other. At this time, we have several officers who are working today, who was working yesterday. They were given the opportunity to stay home on what we commonly refer to as an administrative day. They were offered peer support, emergency assistance program through our city. But those officers chose to come to work today and serve their community. So at the end of my remarks, I'm going to find each and every one of them, and personally shake their hand and thank them on behalf of a grateful city, and a grateful administration, and a grateful department and profession for their act of selfless public service. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Chief.
Wow.
I want to start where the chief ended,
Really sad.
which is just asking everyone in this room and within the sound of my voice to take a minute. It's been an incredibly difficult 24 plus hours at this point in time. We're all human, including each and every one of you in the media who is covering this really tragic event. Please remember that you're human and take care of yourselves. We all need to do that. Drink water, take a moment, access whatever mental health resources you need, because that's our job now, is to take care of ourselves so we can take care of each other and our community. Yesterday, the Madison community experienced a terrible and traumatic event. If there's any positive in it, it's that the educators at Abundant Life, our local law enforcement and first responders, and our community partners were prepared to respond. They acted without hesitation to protect our children, and I'm grateful and humbled by their actions.
Oh, these poor
It's a day that I hoped never would come to our city, but like so many other communities, here we are.
Yeah.
We will never be the same, but we will get through this together. I want to ask again that everyone, please respect the privacy of the victims, their families, and those in the Abundant Life community. Right now, our full focus is on caring for those impacted. First and foremost, the victims and their families, the Abundant Life students and educators, our first responders, the students and educators across the city who woke up this morning and went into a school building not knowing if they would come home tonight.
Oh,
The incredible bravery of that act.
don't forget to hit that like button,
I
guys.
think all of our students and educators are feeling scared and vulnerable right now. We are also trying to care for our whole community because I believe we are all fearful and grieving and impacted. The City of Madison is working closely with Dane County, with community partners, with state and federal government resources to provide support and counseling to all those affected. I want to direct folks to a new city resource website that's available at cityofmadison.com/resources, which includes trauma-informed community resources, updates, community mental health resources, and information about vigils, other public events, and where folks can donate to support the Abundant Life families in our community. I want to highlight two things that are also on that website. And once again, that website is cityofmadison.com/resources. If you wish to support the families, the request is that come in the form of financial support through a site set up by the United Way of Dane County. You can visit unitedwaydanecounty.org, or you can text HELP for ALCS to 40403. Again, that's HELP numeral 4 ALCS to 40403. The community is also invited to a vigil tonight by the Vel Phillips statue at the Capitol at 6 p.m. Again, that's at the Capitol building by the Vel Phillips statue at 6 p.m. I would ask that everyone, and particularly the folks in this room, please avoid spreading misinformation, particularly via social media. Please vet what you share, even if your wish to share is well-intentioned. There's so much that we do not know at this point, and we have to allow law enforcement the time and space for a careful and methodological investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Let them do their jobs. And above all, please respect the victims,
Hey, P9.
respect the families, respect the school community, particularly on social media. I want to say a huge thank you again to all of our partners and those across the country who have reached out offering support and well wishes, including President Biden, who I talked to yesterday, Senator Baldwin, who I talked to yesterday, Congressman Pocan, Governor Evers, who called, and many others at every level of government and all across our community. I want to thank most particularly our first responders and everyone who mobilized yesterday to help. Certainly Madison Police Department and the many law enforcement agencies that were mobilized, the Madison Fire Department, the Sheriff, the State Patrol, the FBI, the ATF. I want to thank our hospitals that cared for the victims and the medical staff there. I want to thank Dane County, in particular, emergency management and the victim services unit. They have been incredible. I want to thank SSM Health and the Dean Clinic. They, without hesitation, made their facility available to us. They canceled all appointments. They rearranged the facility. They put their staff at our disposal to make sure that the Abundant Life families could be reunited with their students.
Thanks, Dandy.
I couldn't be more grateful to them. I want to thank the United Way, both for setting up the donation site and for mobilizing resources across our community. I want to thank the Red Cross and the Salvation Army, the religious leaders who came to their unification site yesterday from across our community, and all of the community organizations and businesses that donated food and resources to the families and are still now offering support for our community. There are so many people who have offered support, resources, help, and well wishes, and we are grateful to every single one of them. I want to end where I started, which is centering our collective humanity. We all have to take care of ourselves so that we can take care of each other and our community. Whatever your belief or tradition is, I would ask that you find a way today, tomorrow, in the coming weeks, months, and years to be kind, to give grace, and to find ways, big or small, to help make our community a safer place for all of our children. Thank you, and I'll turn the podium to the county executive. We'll answer questions. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I forget that you're not all local. My name is Satya Rhodes Conway. I'm the mayor of Madison. That's Satya, last name RHODES-CONWAY. Satya Rhodes Conway, mayor of Madison, Wisconsin. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm County Executive Melissa Agard, MELISSA AGARD. It's unfortunate that we are still having to navigate this absolutely horrific situation in our community. I come before you today as a community leader, as a mom, as a fellow Dane County resident, and like many of you, someone who is continuing to process what unfolded yesterday at Abundant Life Christian School and across our community. My heart aches for the students and families and teachers and the first responders at all levels, from the 911 officers to the folks that are at our coroner's office. Every single one of us has been impacted in an unimaginable reality by this situation. Our kids, my kids, teachers across our community, and in fact, across our nation, had to wake up and go to school today, and that was an act of bravery. Parents dropping their children off at after what we witnessed yesterday took an act of bravery and a belief in our community. And that's a bravery we should not have to put on the shoulders of our children and our families in our community. Let me be clear. These everyday actions that we have all experienced over the last 24 plus hours should not require bravery. They should be routine and joyful, especially at the end of a year, wrapping up a semester. Our kids should be laughing and learning and thinking about pajama day as they're heading into the holiday season. But right now, that's not the case. And right now, it's okay to not feel okay. It's how we move forward. And for some, the weight of this tragedy is overwhelming. I'm sure they're feeling sad and anxious and numb. We've heard that even from our police chief. And for others, they might just be feeling a little bit off, unsettled by the images that our news coverage is delivering to them in the fast-breaking social media world. And it's playing on repeat. And I am grateful for what it is that you all do. But this is impacting people in a different way. And I want you all to know, and people across our community, that their feelings are valid and they are not alone. Seeking support, talking to someone you trust, simply admitting that you're not okay is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength. And whether you're feeling hopeless or scared or just not quite yourself, know that there are resources here in Dane County and in our community that will be here and continue to be here to support you in order to help people move forward through the healing process. Believe me, we are in this together. That is the Dane County way. That's what we do best. Through painful conversations and tears and hugs and vigils, we're going to heal. We're not going to be the same, but we're going to heal. Part of that process is setting aside complacency and demanding change. As someone who served 12 years in our legislature and had a front row seat to the inaction of addressing gun violence in our communities, I'm not stepping aside from that mission in my life. There's going to be public debate about the motives and other aspects of this mass shooting. But let us remember this fact. Gun violence is the #1 killer of children in this country. That's a legacy we cannot accept. We cannot accept that. Part of the reason I feel so pained by this tragedy is that mass shootings feel like something that's ominous and hovering, and we're all wondering where and when the next one is going to occur. And guess what? It happened here. It happened right here. And I am so proud of the folks that I work with at the county and that the mayor works with in the city and our partners at the federal, state, and local level and how it is that we've stepped up and responded to support people. Could we do better? Could we do different? I am sure. But did we do well? I am proud of the work that has been done in this community over the last 24 hours. And I assure you all today that we are going to continue to work like hell to stop future tragedies and to support our community that has been harmed by these actions. And for anyone that's out there listening, anywhere in this amazing world that we live, whether you're grieving or you're scared or you're angry or you're unsure or you're curious, take care of yourself, take care of the people who you love and whose lives you touch. Talk to someone, anyone. If you're not comfortable calling a number, there is someone in your life you can reach out to. No one is alone through this. We are strong in Dane County, and together we're going to get through this. And I know that there are questions that we all want answers to. And I am hopeful that we will have those answers sooner than longer. But please give us the time to do this right so that we can learn how to prevent this from happening in the future and support those that have been most impacted in our community. We are doing everything in our power at all levels in a collaborative way to prevent this type of thing from ever happening again in our community. Can I assure that? No, but we are going to work as best as we can to that end. So thank you to each of you for carrying these stories, for taking care of yourselves, and for delivering these messages to the people in our community that just want one more piece of information. Thank you for being here.
All right. The county executive and I will take some questions. We obviously cannot answer questions about the investigation, but happy to take others, and we'll turn to Dylan.
Sure, Lucas from the State Journal.
Just for the county executive, as a former lawmaker, can you just talk generally about what the laws are in Wisconsin in terms of children's access to guns?
Our laws in Wisconsin are far too lax when it comes to access of guns by children. And I do believe that we should have safe storage laws. We should have background checks. We should have red flag bills. We should be providing adequate support for everyone in our community when it comes to behavioral health. People should not be waiting when they raise their hand and ask for help. And there should not be stigma surrounding people who are asking for that help. Our schools should be adequately funded. Our Department of Justice has an Office of School Safety. They don't have enough resources, and that is on the legislature. In the Wisconsin State Capitol, but this is a conversation that needs to happen from coast to coast. We need partners in our federal government to also address this because states have borders and people can cross them.
Okay, Maddie from WISC.
As public officials, can you speak to the process of vetting information before sharing it publicly, what that looks like behind the scenes?
We can try. I think it depends, but we have a process within, obviously, both police and fire have public information officers who work with the principals to gather and vet information
serious?
and share it out. Similarly, in my office, we have a communications manager who works with us. In terms of the investigation, I can't really speak to that process, but there is a process within law enforcement to decide what information can be shared that won't jeopardize the investigation, and then to do our best to verify information before we're sharing it publicly. Obviously, in an event like this, there is a lot of chaos, and it can be difficult to parse out where information is coming from and how accurate it is at any given time. And so in a developing scene, sometimes we will share information that's not 100% correct. But as you've seen already, the chief comes back and tries to give out the best information we can and correct any mistakes.
Scott, do you have anything?
Do either of you believe that there ought to be charges brought against the parents or anyone else involved in this incident?
I think it's far too early to comment on that. As the investigation proceeds, I think law enforcement will take the steps necessary, but we don't know nearly enough yet.
Cody, do you have a question? Okay, Madison.
CS Police Chief Sean Barnes is not here. Maybe somebody else who's here with law enforcement can speak to this. He mentioned yesterday that the family or the father seems to be cooperating. If you drive past the house that they were searching, it doesn't look like the home, somebody who's cooperating. So maybe can you explain to an untrained eye the state and the condition of the home and the manner in which it is in at the moment?
Anyone here that can speak to that? Sorry, we'll have to follow up on that for you.
Chloe?
Again, I'm not sure if anyone is able to speak to this, but
83rd school
kind of briefly mentioned that
attack
students are talking
across
about
the United States this year. 83 attacks like this in 1 year.
that right now students are coming forward
Whoa.
and sharing what they saw and heard in school yesterday or their relationship with the student.
Whoa.
So I think broadly, at this point in time, it's a very active investigation. You heard the chief ask folks who want to share any information that they may have to share that via Crime Stoppers. And I would echo that if anybody has information that's relevant to the investigation, to please share it through Crime Stoppers. I think today is going to be a very difficult day for all of our students in Madison. I know that our schools and teachers are doing their best to support kids. And I think the county exec has kids as I do not. So she may know more about that.
So I do have a son in our Madison schools, and it was hard for him to get up and go to school today.
Yeah.
And then the school was locked down because many schools in Madison area were locked down due to swatting. And that was triggering not only to him and his peers, but to family members and educators. And the world that our kids are in now is very different than the one I grew up in. They have access to social media and digital communication in the palm of their hands. And they are oftentimes sharing information that has no source. It is our jobs as adults and as folks on the front lines to remind them that nothing is valid that they are sharing at this point in time, but to be there as they continue to process this. Again, my message to my son and to his friends and to other families that have been reaching out is if you do feel that you have any information, if you feel like it might be something that would be helpful and you're not quite sure, you should still call Crime Stoppers. The smallest piece of information could be the last piece of information that we need. So don't second guess yourself. Please reach out to Crime Stoppers. Parents, support your children through this as they are navigating. It is a very confusing path for them. And my kids seem to know more than I do right now, and as this is going on, because of the fact that that digital device is in their hands. And we need to help them know that they should be putting that down and slowing their worlds down
Yeah.
as we're navigating our way through this. Thank you.
Charlie from WORT.
I'm sure you've been on the phone continuously and have to make constant calls. Could you talk about any conversations you've had with other MMSD or other schools in the area?
Yeah, I can speak to that. I have been in touch with the superintendent, and my staff have been in touch with his staff. I mean, initially, it was just making sure that everybody had all the same information, and some strategizing collectively about how to make sure that MMSD schools were safe. As the time goes on, you have seen this already, I'm sure, that MMSD is sharing information out with their families about how to support kids. They've shared information out with their faculty and staff about how to support kids going forward. That is something that we will continue to talk about, is how we can support, again, the students who I'm sure are confused, afraid, worried, the parents feeling the same, and of course our educators. That is part of the work going forward. I do also want to just recognize that there are schools, obviously, in our community that are not part of the Madison Metropolitan School District, and we are reaching out to them as well and making sure that they are supported and have the same level of resources. And that support is coming definitely from the state, but also from the county and the city, and will come more as we go forward. Do you want to add anything?
Cameron from WMTV.
Yesterday when you guys briefed us, you told us that staff and students immediately left the building, some got their cars, some got clothes, all those things. So could you guys tell us what the status of the building is, and if there is a timeline in place for people to return?
I don't have all of those details, but what I can tell you is that yesterday there was a process of folks leaving the building and then obviously being reunited with their families. The building is a crime scene and will be under investigation for some time to come now. But obviously the police department will work with the school and the leadership at the school to do what they can to make sure that people have access to things that they need.
All right. James from WISN.
Yeah, my question is for law enforcement and or DOJ. Yesterday it was said, and I want to quote this, there are almost always observable behaviors before something like this happens. And I see Trish nodding her head. Can you share what observable behaviors specifically we see as this investigation unfolds from the suspect in this case?
So I think, again,
I want to address, because we did receive your question. I'm going to get in front of the microphones.
Oh,
As you mentioned earlier,
pushes her
any
way
questions
through.
we can answer about the investigation, we answered in our updates. So we cannot take any more follow-up questions about the investigation.
Oh, there you
Are
are.
the observable behaviors in the social media accounts? That was not something that.
so again, it's an ongoing investigation.
She just pushed her way
MPD will
through there.
share information
Whoa.
that they can as they can, but we're not able to speak to the investigation at this point in time.
Oh.
All right, Anna from WPR.
Yeah, hi. Please be sure that it's a MMSD and other county school districts open today, and whether
We don't have anyone from the school district here.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry, it's a question for the school district.
I can tell you that there are many families that chose not to send their children to school today. It didn't feel like a day that they could go to school. That's a highly personal decision that individual families made. I honor local control. I honor our local governments and our school boards and our superintendents. And they are navigating this best as they can for their communities.
All right, David from the Journal Sentinel.
Hey, thanks for taking my question. Wanted to ask about a timeline or any further information you give on.
Yeah, exactly. Right before the holidays.
I'm not aware of a timeline at this point in time. Thank you.
All right, Ian from CBS News.
Why didn't the school have a resource officer, and would having one have made a difference?
That's a question for Abundant Life. We can't answer that.
With having resource officers, I'm told that Madison doesn't have resource officers in the school. This is something that
So again, that's a decision that's made by the individual schools and school districts. So it's not something that we can speak to.
Brianna?
Two questions if I may. One, we received a correction saying that it was actually a second grade teacher who made that 911 call. Have officials been in touch with that teacher? Is there anything you can share about who the teacher is?
There's nothing we can share at this point in time.
And then are you able to speak to the general protocol about bullying? How does the school monitor bullying? Do they have protocols in place to monitor how that happens?
Again, we don't represent Abundant Life, and so we're not able to answer questions for the school.
All right, Shay?
Is anyone from Abundant Life able to speak, or?
She just had it.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, we gotta wrap it up here, so we'll go.
Well, Mayor Conway, are you able to just say, I mean, right now we know the victims as students and teachers, nothing more. Can you just speak a little bit more to that? I understand you're trying to respect their privacy, but can you speak a little bit more to the personality? Were they engaged in sports? Were they beloved by the community?
I'm sorry, we can't share anything more at this time. And it's Rhodes Conway.
We really can't share that. Okay, so Adam from CBS 58.
Sure. So it's been 27 hours now. Why can't we share the identities of the victims?
It is my first priority, and I believe the priority of many of us here, to respect their privacy and their timeline. These are folks that have been deeply impacted by trauma and are grieving. And frankly, I think it should be up to them whether and if they want to share any personal identifying information with anyone at all. But it's not up to me. It's a law enforcement decision. And so when law enforcement feels like that's appropriate, they will share that information.
The shooter was named yesterday. Do you know why the victims were not named?
No, that's a law enforcement decision.
She unfortunately walked out the door. Do you know when we'll be able to talk to him?
I don't.
Adding off that question, I mean, we've been sitting here for the last 27 hours, as Adam mentioned. Why would you guys not have the proper people in place to answer some of these questions?
Whoa.
You guys, including the fire chief of staff,
Coming in
are
hard.
trying to say that you want to dispel rumors on social media. You want to make sure that you're giving factual information. We're asking questions that have been circulating on social media, including rumors about the victims. Why not provide clarification and actually have people here to answer those questions to set the record straight?
I don't know how many times I can say this. We will share good factual information when we can. None of you is obliged to stay here. You're free to leave. You don't have to be sitting in this room if you don't want to. We will share information when we can. It's very important that that information be as factual as possible.
So therefore you.
All right, I'm going to say this and then we're done. It is absolutely none of y'all's business who was harmed in this incident.
Whoa.
Please have some human decency and respect for the people who lost loved ones or were injured themselves or whose children were injured. Just have some human decency, folks. Leave them alone. Let them grieve. Let them recover. Let them heal. Don't feed off their pain. We'll share what we can when we can, and not before that. Thank you.
Whoa.
There's not.
Lordy, Lordy.
The mayor does what she wants.
She does what she wants.
Right. I promise to speak to the people.
She does what she wants.
All right, I got one. Well, the mayor may go.
It's none of your business. I don't think that one needs to be in front of the media a whole bunch.
Yeah, I think.
Ja, toch? Ook dat die interactie, toch? Ja, dat doe ik wel.
So who was she? Who was that woman? Did I hear the mayor? Wow, guys, wasn't that something? It's not y'all's business.
Leads to speculation. Lots of it. So the reporter was spot on.
Oh my goodness gracious, guys. Well, I guess we'll learn more. Yeah, that was the mayor. That's what I thought. Wow. So there are all sorts of things floating around about what has gone down here, about this girl. There's lots going on, and a lot of people, I mean, they're not asking, I thinking, because they're meaning to do harm in any way, shape, or form. That's something. The mayor does what she wants. That explains a lot. Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, we got away from that. Here's what we know so far. So no, they have not given out any names at this point. We know that it was a second grader. Yeah. It was something else. She was not happy. I've just never seen it. So Natalie went by Samantha, saying that she passed away from something that was self-inflicted and was DOA on the way to the hospital. So I was thinking that it happened, that she passed away right in the school there, but they're saying in the ambulance, unless they just called it. Yeah, because here it's saying that she was not alive when they got there, and that none of the police fired their weapons. So they're saying that they did not how she obtained that weapon. And she put in this, if that was her manifesto, that it was the stupidity of her father. So I'm not quite sure what that means. So there's usually some type of warning signs, but they're not saying too much about that either. I am going to do this. Oh, you just hold on there, Jazzy Mom.
We took America's all.
We'll just let that get over and done with there, Jazzy. Not the best public speaking moment. Oh, she's got to be stressed right out.
Just earlier to discuss this investigation. Chief Barnes, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so sorry it's under these conditions.
Good morning, Gail. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Can you start off with bringing us up to date about the conditions of the victims? What can you tell us?
I can tell you that 2 of the victims with non-life-threatening injuries were released from the hospital last night. So we'll start with some good news. I can also tell you that we have about 300 survivors that join an exclusive club, those who survived school shootings. Our community is really reeling from what happened today or last night, and we're really trying to put the pieces together to bring some answers to our community.
You know, unfortunately, this is a story we've heard and told too many times. I always ask myself, what is it going to take for this country to get this right? We're still struggling, and now we hear the shooter this time was a 15-year-old girl.
A 15-year-old
What can you tell us about
girl.
her and about her family? What do we know?
Well, we know that her family is cooperating with all investigation right now.
Yeah, they are saying that the family's being very cooperative. I just cannot imagine. You worry about your child going to school and something like this happening. But some of these parents, not only do that, they have that worry, but their kid's the one that ends up doing this.
Now, we'll spend a lot of time today going through some items that we took from her house as a result of a search. We'll look through her social media, talk to some of her friends, and really try to piece together how a 15-year-old was able to do something like this in such a short amount of time.
Yeah. Do you know where she got the gun, Chief?
We do not know where she got the gun. We're working with our partners from the ATF to do what's called an ATF trace form to determine the origins of that weapon, but we hope to have some of.
So I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure I heard that it was her father's. This is just floating around the YouTube streets that it was the father's.
Those answers today in my noon briefing with my investigators.
Do you know anything about a motive at this time? I realize everything is still very early and you all are still processing too.
Yeah, there's been a lot on social media posted by people who allege that they're her friends, describing different motives. We're trying to track those people down to talk to them and figure out what happened. But what we do know is that this child obviously was very troubled. There's usually some type of warning signs that we all may have missed. And so we have to understand that we have to come together as a community. We have to wrap our arms around our children and understand what's going on in their lives.
And I watched your news conference yesterday, and I saw that you were just as affected as all of us who have been watching this. But when you said the person who called 911 was a second grader, it sort of, I had to stop and just process that for just a second. Tell me how you were processing all of that and what you make of this. Did this little girl, this little person have a phone?
Can you imagine? Grade 2. Oh my God. They are saying, no, I could be mistaken again, but what I have heard is that there was in this school only 300 students. Now, if that is the case, not only would this grade 2er have recognized what he or she was hearing, probably knew the person that was doing this on some type of level.
How did she get in touch with 911? I just thought a second grader, you're 6, no, you're 7, 8 years old, maybe.
That's right, Gail. The second grader had a phone, was able to call 911. You know, this affects me tremendously. Gail, before I was a police officer, I was a public school teacher. I taught history at a public high school for 4 years before I made the switch over to policing. And so I've always had a big heart for school and education, as someone, who values the sanctity of school and understanding and being in that position to know how dedicated teachers really are to understanding that our kids need to be safe in order to learn. So it really affected me. I actually had to take a couple of beats myself last night and throughout the course of the day to gather myself and come to grips with this as well.
Yep, I know everything you've said we've all heard before, and yet we keep playing this song, and I feel it's mourn, pray, repeat again. It's heartbreaking that we're starting our day with this story once again. Chief Sean Barnes, thank you so much for talking to us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. Because I've only heard the grade 2er. I must have missed that it was a grade 2 teacher. How did I miss that? Oh, Lordy. Well, I guess it's going to come out in the wash. I wish, they've got lots to find out yet. Lots to find out. I'd like to know if other people knew that this girl had been thinking this. Jasmine, what are you doing? What are you doing? Right out of the gate, they said a second grade teacher called. I don't know which one is wrong. Did you? Oh, Lordy. So, what are you guys hearing? A second grader or a second grade teacher? I hope it was a second grade teacher. I mean, Okay, let me see here if I can find anything on that. Well, the CNN, here, come see this. So I'll bump it up a little bit. Okay, so CNN, Crime and Justice. At 10:57 a.m., the nightmare became a reality when a second grade teacher called 911 to report a school. There we go. Yeah, you're exactly right, friend. A second grade teacher called 911 to report what was going on here. Barnes had said a second grade student had called before correcting himself. Perfect. Exactly, Ruthie. Students at the school were clearly scared as the attack unfolded, said Barbara Weirs, director of elementary school relations for Abundant Life. But the students were well trained in active drills and handled themselves brilliantly. That is so sad that we have to teach our kids drills so that they know what to do if someone comes into their classroom. Wow. So it sounds like her dad has spoken with the cops, and the parents so far have not been charged with any crime. Yes, exactly. Thank God. Thank God. I mean, nobody needs to see that stuff, but holy smokes. In recent years, some law enforcement agencies have charged the parents of the children. Oh, tell me. 14-year-old Colt Gray from the Appalachia High School was charged with 29 counts earlier. Wisconsin laws generally make it illegal for someone under 18 to possess a firearm. And of course, just for hunting. Regardless of how this girl obtained the weapon, no child should have such access. I can agree with that. Oh, just look at that face. Tells it all. Ending the fall semester, how it started. Oh, guys. I mean, it's just heartbreaking. It is absolutely heartbreaking. We could go through these. Well, I mean, look at how many there have been by this time. I don't know what's causing these kids to go wackadoodle. I really do not know. Just blows me away, guys. I'll have to take a look. I am curious how many girls have done this, say, in even the last, 50 years? Crazy. So, guys, thank you ever so much. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this out for me. And thanks for being here. You guys know I appreciate you. I'll see you guys soon in the next one. Bye.
Dun 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 dun. Nani, 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 nani.